cry.
You alright?
Come on in. What defines an ugly cry?
An ugly cry is like that moment where you're like overcome with emotion, but you're also on camera.
An ugly cry is a real cry.
Calling a person ugly is like horrible and unacceptable, and like we don't do that. But ugly crying, I feel like it's acceptable because it's very like a level playing ground. It's like everyone is capable of this.
You can be a supermodel, and when you cry legitimate tears, you are ugly for those moments, okay? That's the way God intended it.
It's really not a marring of your beauty. It's actually an enhancement of your beauty because you're able to be authentic.
Have I ever ugly? I'm sure I have. I've definitely ugly cried in movies.
I ugly cry on my own a lot.
I definitely have been guilty of ugly crying many times in my life. I'm into crying. I think it's healthy.
Ugly crying is something so many of us do. It's relatable, it's natural, and it's a bit snotty, depending on your style.
It's just the most raw expression of emotion. And when we see it happen on an otherwise beautiful, perfect celebrity, it's just so fascinating.
People just like watching other people in distress. Let's be real.
It's very relatable.
Why did you do that? Why? Why did you do that, Karen?
Where was I the first time I saw an ugly cry? In the mirror.
There is no shortage of noteworthy pop culture ugly cries.
Diane Keaton and Something's Gotta Give.
You know, I have all different cry faces. They all look different, but definitely Ramona's is the winner. And when she is in Morocco with me, sharing a room, she throws herself on the bed and she's like heaving. It's iconic.
McCarthy's are kind of known, I don't want to brag, but for ugly crying.
It's not an attractive cry.
It's the kind of crying that you should do like in your car, like alone behind a mall.
There's no one right way to ugly cry, okay? But there are a few key ingredients in the ugly cries we've come to know and love.
An ugly cry, it starts at the chin, okay, with a quiver. If you see it, it goes up, it thins your lips, it wrinkles your chin, it gives you a little bit of a double.
It's like that kind of a...
It's a furrowing of the brow.
It's like heaving, and getting yourself to hyperventilate, and then you hit.
From a beauty editor point of view, we love an ugly cry when there's mascara involved.
It's not coming out of your nose.
You get, in here, you get a little bit of a mustache.
The mucus is the magic.
You're crying so much that the tears actually are coming out of every orifice of your face. That is a cry.
I need a Kleenex.
Okay.
In my book, The Empath Survival Guide, I talk about the physiological benefits of crying. It just helps clear the system of all kinds of toxins.
I love crying because I feel so much better afterwards. I thought about starting a TikTok account where it's just me crying. I think it would do good.
If your face goes into contortions or if your body is sobbing or throbbing, you know, all that is part of it. And we're just so uptight as a culture that we might label it as ugly. To me, it's beautiful.
You know, I have issue with the ugly cry because women don't need to be pretty all the time, you know?
You're not supposed to be pretty when you cry. That's some Lana Del Rey.
Because I'm pretty when I cry.
No, I like to be ugly when I cry. I think it's natural.
Am I crying?
Because you love to cry.
If you're pretty crying, you.
Ugly cries are so relatable and can really convey a specific feeling that they immediately become gifable.
I would say I see an ugly cry meme or gif at least once a week.
You're never gonna send an ugly cry picture when you're at like a family member's funeral. It's a stubbed toe, you know, it's not a broken arm.
I definitely have used the Lauren Conrad black tear.
The Zooey Deschanel ugly cry from New Girl.
The meme of the housewife with the cat.
I haven't been using ugly cry GIFs nearly enough. I need to start. Am I too late?
Almost everyone has heard the term ugly cry at this point, but do any of us really know the origins of the ugly cry?
Where did it come from? I don't know, the 1900s?
Merriam-Webster has this list of words that they're keeping an eye on, but that haven't officially been made a word in the dictionary yet. But they're words that get used a lot, and ugly cry is on that list. For a minute, she almost enjoyed the attention till the thought, oh, it's true, struck her and pulled her mouth into ugly crying. That was written by Betty Sue Cummings in Hue Against the Grain in 1977.
Okay, the 70s, that makes sense. I mean, you know, people were like smoking a lot of pot.
Is that a joint, man?
That was actually the first time, quote, ugly crying had to do with visuals. Every time it was used beforehand, it had to do with ugly sounding cries.
The hyperventilating, the why, the screaming, all of that.
Your voice like sort of drops into this pitch because it's always down here and it always sounds like this somehow.
You lied to me again and again. You told me.
It first showed up in a 1991 issue of Glamour where they were talking about actresses' crying scenes, including Laura Dern's reassuringly ugly cry faces in Smooth Talk and Blue Velvet.
To see her in a position where she's compromising her beauty to show her emotion is really telling.
It made us now start referring to actresses with ugly cry face. I mean, that's epic. She seriously looked like the drama masks. That's unbelievable.
So we had ugly cry face as a term, but we didn't start to see the phrase ugly cry until the late 1990s. Merriam-Webster said it showed up then in a Star Wars fan blog of all places. I'd do something about the look on Luke's face when Vader tells him he is his father. Talk about ugly cry.
Whoever went back and found like the blog from before Reddit, the pre-Reddit Reddit, and found the section that was talking about ugly cries, like that person needs to be knighted.
It wasn't until the early 2000s that the term ugly cry really blew up. And that's thanks to, of course, a little-known news anchor named Oprah.
I'm speechless.
Oh, I may not cry over it, but you are my favorite person.
I had no idea Oprah coined the term ugly cry.
Let's be honest, Oprah popularized half that we use and say today.
The best things in our culture do come from Oprah. Like the, were you silent or were you silenced?
Oprah may have ugly cried to Mary Tyler Moore in 1997, but she actually used the term 5 years later when looking back on that moment, when her hero Mary surprised her on the show.
I went into the ugly cry. Wasn't it graceful? Oh, Mary. I went into the
Oprah, I just want to give her a hug. Like, she is so hard on her sleeve, emotional.
What I like about it, she knows it's ugly, so she covers that up.
And she put her head down, which is cheating, Oprah.
When you think of Oprah making other people ugly cry. And so for Mary Tyler Moore to flip the script, like, I don't get it. Mary Tyler Moore doesn't make me ugly cry. But now I'm starting to rethink like my entire conception of Mary Tyler Moore. Like, should I be ugly crying?
Now you have to remember, Oprah didn't popularize the concept of ugly crying until the early 2000s. So this is her ugly crying years before she coined it. Iconic.
She invented it years before she even invented the term for it. She's that good.
Mary Tyler Moore's visit isn't the only time Oprah cried on screen, but what makes it stand out above the rest is it really launched this term.
I can't believe I'm crying like this.
Oprah was very open on her show about how much she hates surprises, but that's what's so interesting here is that these ugly cries have come in those kinds of moments. Even though someone's crying, it's it's this like unleashing of unbridled joy. Like these are tears of happiness.
Oprah's been there to hold America's hand through this journey of getting to a place of authenticity.
Well, Oprah's so brilliant because she wants to reach out to the resistance in people.
Every father has a dream for his children.
Oh, shut up.
Oprah has been the inspiration behind a lot of ugly cries in her lifetime. In fact, she even went on Ellen's show to give Tiffany Haddish an ugly cry.
She never wrote back. I wonder why. Let's ask her why she didn't write back. Oprah, why didn't you write back?
I didn't write back. You are so good. You are so, come on.
You told me that before in a dream.
No, it's true. It's true. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
When Oprah made me cry on Ellen a few years ago, and she didn't make me cry on purpose, but just the presence of her made me cry. That was definitely an ugly cry, minus snot. When snot comes, it's valid ugly cry, but I didn't get to the snot level, but I definitely got to the tears. And yeah, it was not a sexy cry.
Tiffany Haddish was so caught off guard, but I love it. It's great because it's exactly like Oprah with Mary Tyler Moore. She just gives in, lets her guard down, and just feels the moment.
That was an ugly, joyful cry. I don't normally ugly joy cry. Usually my joy cry is like in the tears, but that was like.
When I see Tiffany cry with Oprah, that's a very special Oprah cry. Tiffany does not cry like that. There's no crying in comedy for women. It's just like Leave It Alone.
Are you crying?
No.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
There's another iconic ugly cry that you're definitely aware of, but you may not have realized Oprah was involved in that one too.
At the 2015 Golden Globes, Common and John Legend won Best Original Song for Glory from the movie Selma, which, you guessed it, was produced by Oprah. It all comes back to her. Like, there would be no ugly cry cinematic universe without Oprah.
But I think the night's best cry face goes to the one and only, we mentioned it before, Chrissy Teigen, reacting to her man John Legend winning the Golden Globe for Original Song. Here's hashtag Chrissy Cryface.
Here's the thing, Chrissy is just in awe of this speech that her husband is giving, and then cut to her in the crowd, and it's all like...
I mean, that's either an ugly cry or a oops, I my pants because I'm so excited my husband won something.
But it is expressing like a level like of emotional fatigue that maybe we've all felt, where like you want to cry, but it's also like you're almost too tired to cry.
And you also just know that everybody in the control room, as soon as they laid eyes on Chrissy Teigen ugly crying, they were like, DEFCON, like code red, all cameras on Chrissy Teigen immediately. We struck gold, everybody.
Know Your Meme shows that Chrissy tweeted during the Globes, "Sorry, I don't practice my cry face, okay? And it's been 5 minutes and I'm a meme."
Listen, to be at the Golden Globes and then you're in this moment of like joy, your husband just won this like really, really monumental award that's so meaningful. And then all of a sudden your phone is like bloop, 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 bloop. And you look and it's just your face is a meme plastered everywhere.
I'd be so annoyed. I'd be like, I'm at an awards show, you guys. Can you stop memifying me?
I want to know if we can even count this as an actual ugly cry because, I mean, we don't really see any of Chrissy's tears.
Listen, there is no ugly cry from the beginning cry to the end cry, okay? There are moments, and if you freeze frame it, if you pause it, you're gonna catch someone in an ugly moment.
Chrissy is no stranger to social media, okay? So of course, she recreated the meme that same exact night with John Legend beside her.
The cycle of an iconic moment is so much shorter now, so she was just capitalizing it in the only way she could, like while it was hot. This is the thing, like she can recreate it in any way she wants for the rest of her life. Like nothing will ever top the unfiltered moment.
Chrissy even posted this moment last year. She captioned it, "Happy anniversary to this drunk dumbass, LMAO." That's some pretty good staying power.
The term ugly cry skyrocketed even more in 2008 with a season 2 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians when the family went on a ski trip.
Not funny. Get out if you're gonna continue to laugh and make fun of me. I'm tired of it. I'm not.
Yes, you are, bitch.
I start laughing at Kim when she's crying because I just can't help it. She has this ugly crying face that she makes.
Courtney, you are shady for that. Your sister's going through it. She's crying on the bed and there's a camera crew. I mean, that makes it all worse.
Since then, ugly crying has been associated with Kim Kardashian.
Girl, the Kardashians like to put their name on everything. They like to brand everything. So even the ugly cry, they're taking credit for it. They're like, yeah, we invented that. Yeah, Chloe, we need to copyright it.
When I think of Kim Kardashian's ugly cry, I think of bike shorts. Bike shorts make me want to ugly cry.
What makes Kim Kardashian's ugly cry the standard for ugly cries, in my opinion, is that we're so used to Kim being so composed, so perfect. But when she breaks down, she breaks down.
Kim Kardashian, one of the most beautiful people in the world. And even she does not look good when she cries, okay? Like that should tell you something right there. Like the ugly cry does not discriminate.
The ski trip is the first of many, many ugly cries Kim gave us.
Don't you think it's so weird that Kim started crying?
No, she cries a lot.
One of the most iconic Kim ugly cries came in season 6 when the whole family was on a trip to Bora Bora and Kim was dating Kris Humphries. Remember him?
So they just got to Bora Bora and Kris throws Kim into the ocean and then this happens.
My earring's gone!
Are you
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry! My diamond earring!
Hold on.
Seriously! It's not funny!
Are you
because
serious?
Literally, that's $75,000!
Hold on. We'll find it, baby.
We're not gonna find it in the ocean!
I'm pretty upset. So I just want to run away because Kris has never seen me cry before.
Kim, there's people that are dying.
I mean, it's just like funny that like somebody is calling her out because they're like all on that vacation.
If you lost $75,000 earrings, girls, you'd be pissed about it too, okay?
Of course, Kris Humphries is the man that Kim was married to for 72 days, exactly, and the man who is responsible for many Kim ugly cries.
So here's why that marriage didn't work out. It didn't work out because, first of all, don't marry a man who throws you into the ocean when you are in full drag. Do not. Second of all, she was like, he hasn't seen me cry yet. And y'all are getting married? No, it was doomed.
Another one of the most famous KKUCs, we'll call them, that's Kim Kardashian ugly cries. Come on, people, let's make it trend, is when she has an absolute breakdown about wanting to leave her doomed marriage to Kris Humphries.
You know, I wasted everyone's money, I wasted everyone's everything, and I feel bad. You don't think I feel bad?
It was the season 2 finale of the spinoff, Kourtney and Kim Take New York. And fans were so excited to see what was going to happen with Kim and Kris that the episode got 4.5 million viewers.
At 30 years old, I thought I'd be married with kids, and I'm not. And I failed at this, and you think that I don't feel bad?
You think I feel bad?
She feels like she's such a failure, and she's not. It's okay to be 30 and not married and not have kids. Am I just projecting? What's interesting is when you see the image alone, you laugh, it's a meme, haha. But when you actually watch the clip, you feel bad for her. I can't laugh at the actual video because my heart sort of breaks for her.
So here's my question. Why is Kourtney always there? Like, she is one of the factors in all of Kim's ugly cries.
See, it just goes to show you that Kourtney is the sneak attack Kardashian. She's the most iconic one all along.
Since Kim's Kris Humphries ugly cry may be the most famous ugly cry from the most famous ugly crier, I think it's safe to say that this may be the most famous ugly cry of all time.
Kim realized how much of a fan favorite moment this ugly cry had become, and she decided to embrace it in the most Kardashian way possible, merchandising.
It's merch.
You've seen the Kimoji. Well, Kim ended up using that to sell cry face backpacks, tie-dye cry face lighters, a Lumi phone case covered in her cry face emoji, all on the now defunct Kimoji.com. Not gonna lie, the backpack's actually pretty cute.
She's like, yeah, it was a painful, gut-wrenching moment in my life, but girl, let's put it on a lighter.
I think it's fascinating for us to see somebody who like we see very poised and perfect all the time, like Kim Kardashian, who's obviously like very conscious of her image, sort of embrace that.
Kim Kardashian is nothing if not an incredibly intelligent businesswoman. I always love when people are like, the Kardashians are famous for nothing. And it's like, yeah, and they're still famous. I love it when people are like, Kim Kardashian got famous because of a sex tape. It's like, you know how many people have a sex tape that didn't get famous? So shut up.
If you can believe it, there's even more ugly cries from Kim that we haven't touched on yet.
I just want you guys to know, like, how much we really appreciate you guys, each and every one of you.
I feel like a failure, that it's like a third marriage. Yeah, I feel like a loser. But I can't even think about that. Like, I want to be happy.
There's a spider on you.
No, there's not, Mom.
I swear.
Oh my God.
Get it off of her, Mom! Please get it off of her!
Mom, is there really a spider on me?
No, it's not.
But what I want to know is, do Kim's sisters ugly cry too?
I think they all have, but no, they're all, strong but emotional women, and I have great respect for them, what they've been able to do with their lives, but they do have their moments.
But here's the thing, Kim has such a good sense of humor about the entire thing. She even tweeted a couple years ago that her son Saint isn't exactly a cry baby, but that he has inherited her cry face. Honestly, let's just hope it keeps passing on to different generations in that family because it's too good.
I'm so happy. Like, I literally didn't think I did.
So we all know the popularity of ugly crying surged because of Oprah and Kim Kardashian in the first decade of the aughts, but in the 2010s, even more attention was paid to ugly crying.
Dictionary.com says that by 2013, Claire Danes had also become associated with the ugly cry because of her emotional portrayal on Homeland of a CIA analyst struggling with bipolar disorder.
I mean, it's an Emmy-winning ugly cry.
In October of 2012, a Tumblr called the Claire Danes Cry Face Project started. It quickly got a lot of pickup, spinning off into numerous stories on the web. Vulture posted a printed face mask of her cry face for Halloween, and Hathaway on SNL even did a sketch about Claire Danes on Homeland. It was huge.
There goes the chin.
Oh, she's having one of her jazz freakouts.
Unlike Chrissy Teigen and Kim Kardashian, who really own their ugly cry moments, Claire Danes has gone on the record multiple times about disliking people's obsession with her ugly cry.
In an interview with Glamour, she told them, quote, "I think people are made uncomfortable by uncensored expressions of emotion, but that's my job. I don't have those fears. I really never have been concerned about being beautiful on screen. That's just not my jam."
Another actor whose ugly cry gets a lot of mileage in memes and GIFs is James Van Der Beek and his truly iconic Dawson's Creek cry.
James Van Der Beek in the season 3 finale of Dawson's Creek has this incredible moment of ugly crying because his best friend is going off for the summer with his childhood female best friend who's been in love with him forever.
Yeah. Words, Joey. Just words.
It is so weird because these things do become bigger than the original show that was the source of them. So I mean, I bet a lot of people use the Dawson's Creek meme who've never heard of Dawson's Creek, who've never heard of rowing, who didn't know that Katie Holmes was going off with the best friend at the end of the season, like me.
I was all in on Dawson's Creek from the very beginning, okay? And I did not think that this ugly cry was funny when it happened.
If you haven't seen it, you should know that James's ugly cry moment comes at the end of an emotionally charged 3-minute scene.
Go. I'm telling you before I take it all back, all right? Just go.
Oh no, it's coming.
Go.
Oh no. Is that it? Is that it? It's that short? It's over in the blink of a cry.
There's that fade where we see Katie Holmes running, James Van Der Beek is reacting, but here's the thing, I wanted more of that close-up of his face, like get into that cry, but also dude, like, come on, give me some tears.
I have a feeling this was like an editor's choice and that there was a long weeping cry and they were like, ooh, we gotta just slice this in real quick.
It's just like a quick snapshot of this beautiful man ugly crying. You don't see it often.
Entertainment Weekly had a Dawson's Creek reunion, and it should come as no surprise that James's ugly cry came up.
I feel like everybody on this show cried more than I did, and I was the one who got caught in the loop.
You're the best meme ever. An amazing meme.
I feel like you cried 10 times as many times as I did on that show.
But no one cried quite like you.
Right. Somehow,
it's not how many times you cried.
It's how you cried.
It's how you cried. I was on Twitter and somebody was like, "Oh, classic at Vander James," and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" So I took it, and it was a 3-second loop of me crying, and I thought it was hilarious. And it just has taken on this weird, it's hilarious to me that you can work for 6 years on a show
and get it boiled down into 3 seconds.
You know, 120 something hours, and it gets boiled down to 3 seconds. They'll outlive me. You know what I mean?
Fun tidbit, in April 2012, James told HuffPost that moment wasn't even scripted. He was just living it. He was in the moment. It felt right, so he cried.
I love that it's become such an iconic image because it's like, yeah, look at that. Look at that guy, ugly crying. That's a man right there.
James isn't the only man known for an ugly cry. Oftentimes, when we see men ugly crying on screen, it's done for comedic effect. Like Anthony Anderson's iconic cry in Blackish.
My old decrepit pops is gonna die. So...
We're also conditioned not to cry. Like, it's one of the earliest things I think every boy learned is that, like, crying is not masculine. Crying is not what men do. Boys don't cry. And to see someone so unabashedly embrace the ugly cry is not only, like, so funny, but it's inspiring too.
We do need to show other men that it's okay to not just cry, but to ugly cry.
I think we need more men ugly crying. We need more men pretty crying. We need more men being sensitive and kind and nice and wearing dresses.
Ugly cry, boys, please, for the children.
Obviously, we've been discussing both scripted and unscripted cries. The unscripted ones, your Oprahs and Kims, are obviously natural emotional responses. But what about the scripted ones? What goes on behind the scenes and how do they tap into that level of emotion? Are the tears real?
I've definitely ugly cried in movies.
I think I did a pretty good ugly cry as Gretchen.
I never told anybody that because I'm such a good friend.
And in fact, crying in movies is great because I think it's really therapeutic in a way. What's interesting is that people think of that as pretending, and it is professional pretending, but it also can be emotionally kind of cathartic because whatever you're doing it's still tears and you're still basing it on, something emotional.
When I'm crying on camera, I have to really cry in real life. I can't fake it. Some people are masters at faking it or using a tear stick and they make it look so real, and I just don't know how to do that.
Crying on cue is not easy.
Nothing matters anyway.
I can do it, but if you have to do it a million times, makeup can blow menthol into your eyes.
It's almost like your emotions are kind of like an ignition. And once your tear ducts start moving, then maybe the emotions will all come out.
It seems like the tears always come when I don't want them to, but when I do want them to, it's like they're nowhere to be found. Acting is hard. I don't know how Nicole Kidman does it.
On camera, I often play characters who, are emotional and cry, and you try to do it in a cute way. It's just never cute. It's always an ugly cry, and I've just made peace with that.
My acting teacher in college, she said, watching somebody cry
on screen or on stage is boring. Watching somebody who needs to cry and is compelled to cry, but they're fighting the tears, that's what's compelling.
I'm not gonna cry.
We're so obsessed with ugly cries that as a culture now we've moved on to just constantly chasing things to ugly cry to.
Sometimes when I'm sad, I like to watch sad movies. You know, seeing somebody else cry kind of helps me get a good cry going.
People are now seeking out ways that they can ugly cry.
There's lists everywhere on BuzzFeed, like movies to ugly cry to.
Maybe it's because we're not allowed to like express our emotions the way that we want to every day. So like we feel like we need a show or something to give us permission.
And I like that now we're like, let's trigger that in people. Let's get that out.
I don't need to watch a sad movie. I don't need to watch The Notebook to cry. I just think about the state of the world. It's easy. Try it at home.
If you're feeling, let's say, frustrated from a day at work and you want to come home and you just feel like crying, that crying will release the frustration. It'll release the anger.
We need that catharsis because we have so much pent-up emotion now, especially over all of these different things that have happened.
We want the satisfaction of feeling that heightened emotional moment at the end of a movie, at the end of a song, or at the end of a book. But you can't reverse engineer catharsis. You just can't do it. Like, it might feel good in the moment, but like those moments when you actually really ugly cry are real moments that just can't be created in a lab.
You know, you can find an ugly cry like right at the moment you need it in your life. In some ways, they're always right there for you.
Here come the waterworks. If it were up to me, I would rebrand ugly crying as healthy, beautiful, positive crying.
It's good. Crying is good, and ugly crying is even better.